Hi, I'm Mónica Fernandes with Evolution Essentials. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 9 types of pandemic stress. And these are types of pandemic stress because I've gone through them and I've heard people going through them. It's been since March that we've been going through this here in the United States, longer in other parts of the world. And I've had people from different parts of the world also giving me information on their types of stress. So it's been a challenge for many of us. And I just want you to take a seat, relax. I'm not trying to freak you out more. I'm just trying to shed light more on each type so that you have tools on how to tackle them, okay? Pandemic stress type number 1. Okay, number 1. So number 1 is health. Stress caused by either your health or someone's health or concerns of others' health. So this has to do, you have COVID, right? You have the pandemic looming over you, over us, and obviously we don't want to catch it. We don't want anybody, any of our loved ones or friends to catch it. And you may have already experienced COVID yourself, or you may have someone in your family who's experienced COVID, and perhaps you've lost someone to COVID. And I am sorry if that is you. But right now, really, COVID is out of our control. Unless, we can do what we can do in terms of protecting ourselves, because we are responsible for our actions. And so really, if you've had, say, scheduled surgeries, if you've had scheduled treatments, physical therapy. I have a friend of mine that had an accident in her wrist. She fractured her wrist. And of course, with the pandemic, you can't really go out, at the time that you really were in lockdown and you couldn't go out and do physical therapy. And a lot of the health appointments were done by telehealth like this, through Zoom or something similar. And, it is very stressful if you have a health issue or someone you love that you're accompanying with a health issue, and you have to take them to the doctor. The whole procedure of going to the doctor is a whole new experience. I had a routine checkup with the gynecologist, and I ended up not really knowing what the procedure was. I knew that I had to go with a mask, and I knew that I couldn't really hang out in their waiting room because they didn't want people there congregating. So I came in, I'm going to tell you what happened. I came in and I gave my information, and then they made me sign something with a sanitized pen. And then I was sent to my car to wait and told that I would be getting a phone call. And then the second time I had to go with my other routine for mammogram to the same place. They gave me one of those pagers, the ones that they give you at restaurants. So that was a little different, but I had to go sit in my car and to have that happen. And I thought that I would be helping things by using gloves, and they made me discard the gloves and they gave me a new pair because they're like, you're going to be touching things. So it's just that whole experience of going to a doctor, or if you have to go to a hospital, that's extremely stressful. And then there's certain things maybe you've been used to doing with your self-care or your tune-ups. I love going to the chiropractor for tune-ups. All of those types of close proximity visits were rescheduled or not available for a time. Going to the dentist is something that I need very much because I haven't done my usual cleaning, and I'm a little delayed, and I'm sure that there's a lot of people delayed. You're probably delayed in some of the things that you have to do with you. Maybe you have kids' appointments that you had to reschedule, and that can be extremely stressful. Also, one of the things that other self-care things that you can do that would alleviate stress that you're not able to do right now is, for example, going into a Reiki session or a massage, going into a spa, going to an acupuncture session or hypnosis session. All of these in-person things that are for your self-care and for your betterment, for your health improvement and balance, you're unable now to do these, or you're they suggest that you postpone it or that you do it another time. So that's pandemic stress number one, is concerning your health. So really I advise that you do, because there's certain things that you cannot do and you can't control, doctors' schedules and all of these things, all of these decisions that are outside of ourselves, you can just take more time to self-care in other ways at home. And please watch this video right here on ways to manage your stress. So pandemic stress number two, financial stress. I know people probably have a ton of pressures. Maybe you've lost your job. Maybe you have been furloughed. Maybe you've been forced into retirement. Maybe you were getting unemployment and now unemployment is running out. And the pressure surmounts. It really is really cumulative, where you have rent or a mortgage due, you have food that you need to purchase. Maybe you're staying home because your kids are doing remote learning, or you decided suddenly to homeschool your kids. And there's all of these pressures and all these stresses that now are on your shoulder, and you're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? So I don't know anything about financial stuff. I've tried to get financial advisors that I know to talk to you about this, but they have all these regulations with their companies about public speaking. So what I suggest you do is that you reach out online and find out where your nearest food bank is. Research with your town or city in terms of any type of assistance, additional assistance. There are organizations that will specialize in helping with these situations. And really look inside at your budget. Look at your budget. Find ways to save. You know, it is normal that if you had all of these expenses, all of these things that were not basic needs that were happening, you're going to have to cut down on those. That's just common sense. The other thing is talk to an expert. So if you know a financial advisor or somebody that is really good budgeting, you know, their home, ask their help. They can help you with this process of budgeting, because budgeting can be really overwhelming. Sometimes you don't realize how much you're spending, and they'll be able to find ways in things that you can save. So just try to reach out. Also, your bank may have programs to help you with your mortgage, and talk to a mortgage broker if refinancing is an option. And so there's all of these ways that you can try and streamline money and your resources, and ask for help. I think that's the biggest message that I have for you, is ask for help. Because fortunately I'm not in that situation, but if I felt that I was in that situation, I would reach out. I have networked a lot in my past. I know a lot of people that are really good with money, including family members that are not in that industry, but they're just really good at budgeting. And I'd reach out to them for ideas and for maybe things that outside of their comfort zone and outside of the box that they would be able to give me. So I really urge you to reach out. So pandemic stress number three. Number three is isolation. I know we've had lockdown with the pandemic, and you know, all of the stresses that come around being home and being isolated. We're human beings. We're not supposed to be isolated. We're all connected. And so it really feels a bit a desperate thing when we're forced to be isolated. So now with, you know, being able, the phases going out and everything, we have to do social distancing. So maybe you're not seeing your friends, and that's okay. There's other ways to have Zoom happy hours and FaceTimes and Skype, whatever platform that you use, definitely do that. And the same thing with family, obviously. With the kids, try to foster also that type of connection if you don't feel comfortable having your kids around other kids, because you don't know where they've been, you don't know where the parents have been. So anyway, now with the schools starting, and all these schools have different rules. Some are doing remote learning, others are doing in-person classes. I suggest that you just use your intuition as a parent and act accordingly. In terms of the lockdown, also one of the things, if you have pets, I have a cat now. I lost my poor Lucky during this pandemic, but pets can be a huge source of comfort, and they really just are a way of reducing your stress just by being there. So I'm telling you, the social aspect is tough. I get it. Listen, I'm meeting virtually through Zoom with my writing group that is up in New England. I'm down in Florida. So I have been able to actually facilitate those meetings of my writing group that I've had for 16 years, the Nomad Writers, every week. And we meet on Zoom and we have a blast, and I'm writing and I'm loving it. So that really fills me up socially. So I know that there's things that you can do in terms of not feeling isolated. There's a ton of free courses online. If you want to pay, I highly suggest Masterclass is a great fun and learning with different things. If you've always wanted to learn some cooking basics, I watched Gordon Ramsay. He was fantastic. And watch Bobby Brown with makeup. I love makeup, so I always like learning what other people are doing with makeup. And if you're missing your business networking, try to do that online too. Just because it's not safe to be in person doesn't mean that you can't reach out and make new contacts. I'm going to give you an example, really great example. I moved down here and I had I joined a meetup group, and I met 3 other ladies, and in January, so we had, you know, a couple of months of getting together and lunches and dinners and outings, and then the pandemic hit. We talked on the phone and we did this, and then one of them was like, you know, I'm really think that you should connect with my sister, and her sister was in Suriname in South America. And then her sister, who's amazing, and you can watch the video with Barbara Indian over here. I'll link it up on how to go through career transition, you know, what to do if you're laid off, and if you are furloughed, what the difference is. So I'm going to link up all of these videos over here and in the description, so you know, you can get to know Barbara as well. And then with Barbara, I was able to connect with all these other incredible entrepreneurs that I never met in person, but I was able to interview them through Zoom for my YouTube channel. So if you haven't seen any of those interviews, I suggest that you subscribe right here, and you're gonna learn a lot, I'm sure. So anyway, getting back to the stress, there's really, you know, if isolation is stressing you out, there are so many ways now with the internet, with technology, to be able to really just blossom and actually even make new connections. So I'm excited about these new connections because I feel like I just really learn from them, and they're just amazing women. So I love that. So that really brings me joy when I'm talking to like-minded women and people with different experiences and coming from different backgrounds. I love that. So pandemic stress number 4. Number 4 is uncertainty. And like I mentioned before, if you have been laid off, if you've been furloughed, or if you had to sort of be forced to retire early, please watch my videos that I'm going to link up here with Barbara, who's in HR, and also with Jesse. Jesse, we talk about 5 ways to manage, that women can manage stress in 2020 at work. So I'll link this up over here. You can watch that. And she's a great person actually to reach, because she started her own business, Your Careers, that stands for Your Own Reality. And basically she can help you draft your resume if you've been laid off and you haven't had a resume in gazillion years. She can really help you with that. So the uncertainty of when you can resume your social life. I really miss going out with my girlfriends, and I really miss traveling. That's probably the biggest one, because my family is on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, and I miss them, and I usually see them 3-4 times a year. And the last time I was there was before the pandemic started. So now we're, towards the end of the summer, and I still haven't gone because of all of the guidelines. So I'm looking forward to that. But that doesn't mean I can't connect with them. Okay. So even if there's this uncertainty of when, I still make an effort to reach out and connect. So what other things are we missing? We're missing the normal, right? Going to restaurants, movie theaters, sports events, all of these things. Don't freak out about this uncertainty, because in uncertainty, if we knew everything about the future, it would be really boring, because we'd already know what's coming up next. So look at uncertainty as a good thing, and look at different things that you can do while this uncertainty continues. The uncertainty is just something that's already there. We're just in the middle of a pandemic. But things don't last forever. So this is going to end at some point. We don't know when, so that's the big mystery, the uncertainty of all of it. But just take a deep breath, okay? And know that what goes down must come up. So if there's bad times, you're down, it's going to bounce back up. That's just the way life is, okay? Pandemic stress, number 5. I've kind of touched on this a little bit, but it's family. So if you have kids, little kids or kids up that are in high school, or even the ones that are in college and can't attend college in person, and now they're at home, and now you are finding yourself that you need to do some more homeschooling that you just didn't want to, I really urge you to watch this over here with my friend Lisa. She's an expert homeschooler. She has been homeschooling her kids for a few years, and she has great tips for you. So don't stress out. There's really ways to, really manage better that situation. So do watch that episode. And then the other thing is the strain that it can put on the couples. So if you're partnered, to actually have to deal with your partner all the time because they're probably working from home or they're just home more, they can get on your nerves, and you're going to be like, oh my God, when is this person going to leave me alone? Or you're working remotely and you want your time alone. Go outside if you can, to just take a break. If you don't want to get into fights, because then the kids are going to watch that, or whoever else, your pets are going to watch that. It's just very stressful. So I urge you to compartmentalize. That means designate areas where you're both at during the day. So if you're both working from home, designate areas, and watch the episode with my friend Gina right here in terms of dealing how can couples struggling can support each other during pandemic times. She gives great tips on how she's done that herself, and how she really tells her clients what the best way to do that. So really compartmentalize and designate areas and designate times of when you're together versus you're not together. And if you need to go for a ride, go for a ride, you know, go for a walk, go in nature, go in the ocean if you have an ocean nearby. Just air out your head, really bring yourself back to neutral, because health is something that is a state of harmony when it's good. So you want to have that happen. Pandemic stress number 6, okay? So I've already touched on this. It's the job. So if you have been furloughed or laid off, there's a huge amount of anxiety that can come from that for all the reasons that I've mentioned above. So watch the episode with Barbara Indiana. I'm going to link it up over here about the transition in terms of careers, or what to do when you're laid off or furloughed, and what are some of the things that you can do. And, you know, I'm big into essential oils. You know, for my channel, I talk about essential oils a lot. There's a ton of essential oils that will help with anxiety. And there's a blend that I use specifically during the day called Adaptive, which is the calming blend. That is really great to reduce anxious feelings. So check that out. I have 25% off on the essential oil brand that I use in the description, so check that out below. And at night, if anxiety is causing you to have some sleep issues, I use the restful blend called Serenity. I love that. It's lavender based, and I just love it so much. I put some on my bottom on my feet, and that really helps me sleep through the night. So those are some oils. I can leave here if you need more oils on how to sleep. I can link up on the video I did there. So pandemic stress number 7. Okay, so number 7 is sleep. I just talked about it. So the anxiety of all of this is natural, okay? And the mind is not stopping. So you've got your mind not stopping, you've got the voices all over, you just can't shut it down. And you're feeling down. Maybe you are worried. Maybe you are a little depressed. Maybe you are watching the news and that's just freaking you out even more. You know, maybe you're reminiscing about the normal times, and you're thinking about the past, and you're you know, worried about the future. You really need to center your mind if that happens. You know, if your mind is running, you know, at the speed of light and you can't seem to let the voices quiet down for you to sleep, you need to meditate. You need to center your consciousness. And for that, meditate. There's apps that do that, Insight Timer, Calm. There's all these, you know, guided meditations on YouTube. There's so many different tools that you can use to kind of just, you know, quiet the noise, focus the mind on one thing, even if it's just breathing. Pandemic stress number 8. So going out into the world. And what do I mean by this? We are nervous about going out to run our normal life. We have to know about the guidelines that we have to abide by. That means the 6 feet social distancing. This means, you know, wearing masks and make sure that you don't touch things. So if you're wearing gloves, or if you are sanitizing all the time and washing your hands, all of this obsession with wiping everything down and everything, that alone is super stressful and it creates a lot of anxiety. So one of the things I recommend, so that you don't actually cause more problems and put more toxicity in your environment and in your body, is to use a sanitizer that's non-toxic. So when I go out, one of the things that I keep in my purse at all times is this On Guard sanitizing mist This is a sanitizing mist that's antiseptic. It contains alcohol and essential oils to basically combat any virus or bacteria. And what I do, in addition, now sometimes we have places that don't even provide sanitizers, so you have to wipe down your own cart. So I always have this with me. And another thing that you can do is for your mask, I have this cloth mask that has an opening that you can put, a filter or a Kleenex or something. So you can actually spray this On Guard sanitizing mist on that. Don't do this with a toxic antiseptic, because that's just like going to create more problems. Or you can do the front of your mask, give it a few sprays. That way it's not overwhelming. You can do this with the sanitizing. So this is an extra protection that I recommend. One of the things that there was a few things right off the bat that I was really nervous about when I saw the whole craziness with the toilet paper and things just like being totally bought out from grocery stores. So right at that point, I think it was way back in March, I actually set up 3 things to be delivered to my house. I eat organic. So for me, it was important to maintain that lifestyle. So I actually ordered from Misfits, and Misfits is basically a delivery subscription box. You can have it every week or every other week or however often you want. And it basically pools produce from organic farms, a multitude of organic farms. I'm on the East Coast, so they pull from organic farms on the East Coast. And they call them misfits because they might be a little crooked or something like that. Most of the time, they just come normal. And so I had that come every other week because it's just 2 of us. So I only needed that amount of produce. And I set that up. The other thing I set up was the Wild Alaskan Company. The Wild Alaskan Company is wild caught and sustainable fresh catch. So fish, so a lot of salmon and cod. My favorite is the sockeye salmon that they have, and the cod is amazing. It really is amazing, and it's sustainably done. So it's wild caught. So you're not doing the farm raised stuff, and so it's actually better than the things that you find in the grocery store, that I find in the grocery store, especially down here. So I ordered that, and actually, if you want to try that out, I'll leave in the description $25 off of your first order if you want to try that. It is fantastic. Honestly, I still keep that, even though it's like safer to go to grocery stores now, but I still keep it because just the fish is so amazing. So that's Wild Alaskan Company. And then the other thing I also set up was Butcher Box, which is the same thing with meats. So it's grass-fed meats. I chose a box, mixed box, so it comes with chicken and pork and beef, and you never know what you're going to get. So I get that once a month. And so having the fish and the meat once a month, I'm still doing it. So if you want to try the meat, I have $15 off for you in the description as well of your first order if you want. So really try to simplify things so that you don't stress out about going out. I'm a homebody by nature, so for me it's not a bad thing, and I already work from home, so it wasn't a bad thing to stay home. But if you want to avoid crowds and all of that, you can still use these services. And I know that probably Amazon has the Prime pantry and all that you can also set up if you want. But so those are things that will minimize the stress of going out that I've done, that I can share with you. Pandemic stress number 9, fear. And I left this one for last because really this is the most important. It's the most important because it's the foundation of all of these stresses. Fear. Fear is at the root of everything. It's the fear of going out, the fear of isolation, the financial fear. It's all of these things. That's the root thing, right? So the fear of getting it is probably the most simple fear that you can have. Of course, we don't want to get COVID. And of course, we don't want any of our loved ones to get it. Anybody that we know, of course not. One of the things that I really think that you should do if you feel this fear sits at our root chakra. So if you don't know about the chakra system, root is the first chakra, is the base chakra. It's in your pelvic area. And think of the root chakra as symbolic of everything, or all your basic needs, your survival things, all of the comfort things that you really, your safety zone. So home is a safety zone, health is a safety zone. All of these things are things that are basic. It's your foundation of the house. So think of yourself as a house or a tree, if you want to look at that. And the root, so the root of the tree, that's your root. You need that to be able to exist. And so the best way to feel connected to your root and really ground yourself, there's different ways. You can definitely use essential oils. There's a grounding blend called Balance that I really love, and another one that's also called Anchor. It's anchoring. It's very, very grounding. And that's part of the yoga collection, but you can use either one of those blends to help you, for example, meditate. You can do meditation. Meditation is very good because it aligns you and it connects you completely. Go take a walk, go in nature, put your feet in sand. If you're an ocean girl, put your feet in sand or in salt water. Salt water is so cleansing. That's all great ways to ground yourself. And there's some stones, some semi-precious stones that you can get that will ground you, that will help you to ground yourself. And those stones are usually black or red. So think of all your obsidians and your jet stones. And I know I'm forgetting some, but tourmaline, black tourmaline is a great stone. And also red ones like garnet. Those are very grounding stones. So think of doing your meditation, or if you can do Reiki to yourself, you can also use these stones to even amplify that feeling of being rooted. So that's the best way to combat fear. I hope you got major value from this video. Please download my free gift to you of the 25 stress reducing blends to put in your diffuser. And if you haven't liked this video, please do that. Share with your friends. If you haven't obviously subscribed already to this channel, please do that right here. And I will see you in the next video.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. See you next time.